Okay, Gary, you've had time to think on it. What is your decision? Are you going to join our team or not?
I love the idea, but I'll keep it straight with you. If I win the championship with Red Bull, I'll come over and start this new chapter. But if not, then I want to stay here.
Okay, this can work. Let's sign a pre-agreement with that clause. If you lose the title, you stay there. But if you win, your new chapter begins with us.
And with that, we have the news that, and no one knows this, but if we win the championship with Red Bull Audi this season, we will leave and start a new chapter as a owner-driver with Fernando Alonso as our team principal over at the Andretti BMW team. If we lose the championship, we stick with Red Bull into the ongoing career mode that will no longer exist because F124 will be releasing, of course. Now, hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of the career mode. It's been a bit because I had a really interesting week last week. I was sick, I got better, then I got way more sick than I was earlier in the week, and now I'm finally back to normal and, well, ready to settle these final, 5 races of this career mode and go for this championship. And we finally got a second win on the season last episode. We topped Charles Leclerc, and we as well brought an upgrade, or Audi brought an engine upgrade, I should specify, going into last episode, which was great to bring forward. Hopefully, we won't see any upgrades coming out of any other teams, but Audi has promised to bring another upgrade or two in the coming races leading into the end of the season, so hopefully we can stay competitive with McLaren. Now, we focus in on qualifying, and after that win last episode, the confidence is booming. Now we round the final turn here in this Chinese Grand Prix weekend. Q1, we breezed through, not a big deal. It was only P13, basically just doing what we needed to do to get into the second qualifying session. The pretty typical names out here in Q1. Q2, kind of the same situation, really just doing what we need to do to get through, and this is a track that has never treated me very well in terms of qualifying or the race. I think about last season, we lost a chance at getting that first championship at this track last season, but this track has never really been that great for us. But we go P10 in Q2. Fortunately, that was enough, and we squeezed through into Q3 over the Lamborghini drivers of Norris, and of course the newly Lamborghini driver of Albon, Doohan, Chadwick, Vesti. They're all behind, rounding up the top 15 there. As we come through now into Q3, of course, where all the money is, and early on in the session, Gasly top of the board. I was expecting a 2-lap kind of deal in this qualifying session now, and a lot of the times this season we've only done one, but we crossed the stripe here. We go P4, but later in the session, time ticking, we are P5, but everybody's back on track and finding more pace, including myself. So that's where the confidence is. We went just barely enough in both qualifying sessions to squeeze through into the next one, but hopefully here we can put ourselves in a good spot. The Ferraris, Vips, and the new debut, of course, last episode of Jarno Opmeer and Monza down in P9. Not a great effort from him, but we, of course, are finding some time. We found half a second. A purple sector, too, where this car really booms. Russell, P6, Behrman, P7. At the end of the long straightaway into the braking zone, I'm expecting it's a McLaren 1-2 or something at least right now. Maybe Dragovic, actually, no, Dragovic is currently pole. As we round the final turn, what's it going to be for us? 0.6 of a second gain to the line. It's going to be P4 in the Chinese Grand Prix. Leclerc, our championship contender, P2. Front row, Calimere. How about Calimere, P3? And Aiden Jackson, P6, behind Pierre Gasly and P5. Row 2, hoping for a good start to get ahead of Charles Leclerc.
It's time again then for Formula One in Shanghai. Northwest of the thriving city of over 24 million people is a circuit that first featured in the championship calendar back in 2004. It played host to Formula One's 1000th Grand Prix back in 2019. Shanghai International Circuit then is a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests the driver's patience. The flat, open to the elements location, test their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and they're available into turn 1 and down the kilometre-long back straight into turn 14. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Felipe Drugovich lines up on pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Mayer, Golden Boy, Gasly, Jackson, Russell, Behrman, Yuri Vips, a Ferrari, Norris, Albon, Ewan, Chadwick, Vesti, Maloney, Oscar Piastri, Liam Lawson, Sonoda and Mick Schumacher. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. With the Grand Prix nearly upon us, Anthony Davidson is by my side once again to offer his perspective. Now, let's talk about Charles Leclerc. That was a great win in the last race, but can they keep that momentum going into this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
We've already had big news this episode, of course, that's not official yet, out in public with myself and Alonso and the BMW team in a future at Red Bull. But mediums to hards, simple strategy here today.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
Everybody except for two drivers starting on the mediums, Albon in the Lamborghini to the softs, Schumacher starting from the very back of the grid there in that BMW machine. He'll be as well on the soft tire.
We're almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
All right, team. Appreciate you guys and the work this last couple of weeks. Let's continue this momentum here into today. I know it's going to be a tough one.
Not an easy track for you, but I believe in you today. Something feels special.
We're ready to roll then as we grid up to our spot. Calimere, Charles Leclerc, Drugovich all in front of us. Actually a pretty diverse top three compared to usually seeing the McLarens 1, 2 and whatnot. But of course Audi bringing that powertrain upgrade, it's definitely helping. You see the two BMWs there lining up the back of the grid. Lawson as well as Mick Schumacher here. Sorry, Sonoda and Schumacher now. But here we go. 28 laps of racing in the Chinese Grand Prix and it's going to be lights out. We're racing. It's a poor start from Arian as well. A poor start from Leclerc. A great start from myself and Pierre Gasly. I mean, he's gone from what, P5 to P2. He goes around the outside of all of us now. I thought I had a great start, but hold on. The Frenchman said, hold my wine, I guess, and it goes around. And you can see side by side there, that is Aiden Jackson, defending champion, going at it here with the Trackhouse drivers. And Calimere goes from P3 to outside of the top 5 right there. Not the start she was looking for. You got the pair of Lamborghinis putting the attack on the Ferraris. And how is Jarno Opmeer going to do here in his second race? We've got our sister team to this Red Bull Audi team there. That's the Williams Audi drivers going at it right now as well. But overall, a good, clean start for everybody. But it's Felipe Drugovich, 1 win on the season. That was all the way back in the season opener. And we have seen this trend of only 1 win a season for him. He has not had a great season as well. He's had mechanical failures multiple times this season. But he as well, when he's actually finished races, just hasn't been putting up the numbers that we've been putting up. And Felipe Drugovich's future at Red Bull Audi is starting to come under question here now, as here comes Charles Leclerc down the long back straightaway. The AI have so much more ability with that overtake button, with the battery on that first and opening lap, but we are going to not make it easy for Leclerc. We know, I mean, if we want to keep our championship hopes alive, we need to fight, and we need to fight hard. It's only 4 races to go following today's episode. That is a very short amount of time, of course, now. So we hold on the first lap. We settle in here to P3. And this is a track that I've always struggled to have the pace set. I mean, if you remember last season, we struggled so hard in a straight line. We have made some setup changes coming into this season's race to try and hopefully combat that. But you see right here, a little bit of a slip and slide. No matter what you really do here, though, the AI just always have really good straight line speed here in China. And speaking of that, here comes Leclerc again, showing the nose up the inside. He gets alongside my front axle there, pretty even, but we stay back ahead again, not making it easy on the Monaco driver now. It's the pair of McLarens, 4th and 5th behind myself. Gasly, the Mercedes, in between the 2 Red Bull Audis. And of course, Mercedes has been chipping away at the points margin between themselves and us here. The battle for second is on. McLaren is pretty well wrapped up the Constructors' Championship already, but that Drivers' Championship is slowly kind of turning into our favor if we can beat Leclerc and Jackson both today after winning last episode in Monza for the 3rd consecutive season. Monza has certainly been our track in F1 23 now. Will that be the situation in F1 24? I'm not sure, but here we go. On the exit, heading towards that long straightaway again, and you can see the gap between myself and the cars in front. Here comes the Leclerc, and this time it might be a different scenario. He breezes past even as we have DRS. I had nothing for him, dude. I mean, insane in the straight line.
It's okay, stick with him, this is long from over.
Mark boosting the confidence here now as we continue lap 6 of 28. Our pit window, by the way, opens about lap 13. As you can see, a bit of a moment right there, oversteer, correcting the car. We keep it on track, but the gap between Leclerc now was increasing. Fortunately, I was able to hold on to DRS, and we are really able to gain in those low-speed corners, so we would at least get back within a comfortable gap to Leclerc in that McLaren, but we would kind of get stuck here. I was P4, lap 7 at this point, and this is basically what it was turning into. I could get right about here, and at the end of the long straightaway, I could get right to the back of Leclerc, but I wasn't fast enough to actually get an opportunity to make a move and do anything, so I was just kind of stuck, and that was starting to be a bit of a concern, as actually I can see on the track map someone's starting to come into the pit lane. There is 2-stop strategies that are going to be happening here today. It's certainly a possibility. Now here comes Aiden Jackson actually right up to the back of me as well, so not only are we struggling to pass the cars in front and we're just kind of stuck, but we're also facing pressure from behind of Jackson Behrman, 3.7 seconds back, and he actually pits. He's going to be starting the 2-stop strategy in as well. I believe that's Yuri Vips. Yes, it is Yuri Vips coming in, as he's currently being beat by his teammate of Jarno Upmere. He comes in for the 2-stop strategy. Mark, I'm telling you right now, I cannot pass these guys straight up. We need to do an undercut or something to give me the track position.
Okay, hold on, be ready for a call.
Mark says be ready for a call, meaning be ready to, get abruptly called into the pit lane here at any moment in these coming laps. Now here comes Aiden Jackson again, putting some pressure. This time going to get alongside. If we lose this position, it could be game over for beating his teammate and championship leader Charles Leclerc. We keep it around the outside. Fortunately, we stay ahead of the defending champion of Aiden Jackson. Now lap 11 coming to lap 12. Our pit window opens lap 13, so end of lap 13 coming to 14 is the expectation of the pit window.
Okay, pit now, pit right now.
And now, there it is, the call. Come into the pits. Everyone stays out. They're going to their pit window. We're going to come in a lap early. I was stuck. I guarantee you I can't pass those guys straight up. It's a repeat of last season. Even with a quicker car in a straight line with setup changes, I can't pass them. We're stuck. We need to try something. It's too late in the season to settle for just being behind Charles Leclerc, even if it's one position. We got to try something. We've done a couple of moments this season where we have tried things. It hasn't worked a few times, but now we exit onto the track. Oliver Behrman on the 2-stop strategy. Look at the time. He was 4 seconds about that behind me when he pitted. Now he's about a second in front, but he's caught up behind the 2 sister team cars to, of course, this Red Bull team, the Williams Audi. So this is going to get interesting. We got to make sure we manage traffic, and now here we are rolling up on the back of rookie Zane Maloney. It's been a very quiet rookie season for him, as we are now going to go around the outside. We might lose a tenth or two because of a move like that, but that's pretty decently timed. So we get around him, and now Behrman, here he is going for a move on Frederick Vesti as we head down towards the left-hander, of course, into the DRS detection zone here once we roll through this right-hander, and hopefully we can slip through these guys. So far, we haven't lost any time. They're having to take a bit more of a shallow apex, but not a big deal. So overall, we really haven't lost much. Leclerc into the pits now. Jackson, Gasly, Dragovic stay out. Mayer, Russell in. This is the moment of truth. Leclerc gets those mediums off. It's a one-stop strat. The hards goes on. He's waiting. He's going. He had to wait in at least an additional second. That could be a game changer. We're going to go past Leclerc into turn 1 as well. We'll get up the inside of Ollie Behrman. And there we go. We have been able to move through on Leclerc, who is going to have to pass 3 additional cars currently if he is going to pass us. That is a huge moment potentially in the rest of this Grand Prix, and now halfway through at this point, and at the end of this lap right here, we run down Jamie Chadwick, but our teammate of Dragovic, Jackson, as well as Gasly are all into the pit lane. The biggest moment of truth. Chadwick out of the way. She boxes. We get the DRS anyways, and we're going to breeze to the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix by pitting 1 lap earlier than Leclerc. It did help that he got held up a little bit, but I think we still would have been ahead anyways. We make the difference with the tires 2 laps earlier than Dragovic and the others, and we breeze past them by 4 seconds, and they are in front of Charles Leclerc. Even better. So right now, it's basically myself leading, Behrman, Vips, second and third. They have to pit again on the two-stop strategy, so it's Dragovic who will be second, Gasly third, Leclerc not even on the podium. He's going to be P4, while Jackson's going to be in P5. We rolled through to lap 17. The 2 guys behind us still on track. Yellow flags in the background. It's just a little orange moving McLaren. It's Aiden Jackson. Jackson with the first mechanical failure for the team this season. Not the McLaren we want to see, because we know he's not a huge threat to us in the championship, even though we're close on points.
Okay, so Jackson is out. Leclerc is being told to manage his power here.
Is there a storm brewing at McLaren? That's their first mechanical failure all season long. Really did not see that one coming now. Will there be more? Here comes Drugovich now on the long back straightaway, lap 17, approaching 18. Of course, that'll be 11 laps to go. Drugovich going to move through into P3, so Yuri Vips continues to go down the order. You see Gasly, Leclerc just behind, Calimero as well, George Russell, Albon, Norris, the rest of the top 10 currently. Behrman currently continues to run in that second position. But Felipe Drugovich, that's the biggest one I got my eyes on, at least in terms of winning the race. He's on 2 laps fresher tires. He should be able to run us down, I would imagine, considering our pace just hasn't been that great. The best we've been able to do is hold on. Leclerc gets past Vips as well, so into 5th he goes. So he's continuing to move his way forward, but he's quite disconnected. He's about 2 seconds back from Pierre Gasly, so that's quite helpful to us. And we just need to hang on. We have gotten the strategy perfect today. We just need to bring it home and take these extra points that we're going to gain over Leclerc. Make sure we don't screw this up. We can take a P2 to our teammate Drugovich even if we need to. We can still gain some good crucial points on the Monaco driver for this championship battle that certainly is no longer over. Behrman into the pits now for his second and final pit stop. Vips is going to follow. We'll see how they cycle out by the end of this race. Is a 2-stop strategy going to work for them, or was a 1-stop a superior strategy? Now, as we continue on, and problems, Charles Leclerc with the mechanical failure.
The engine is gone, guys. Oh my god.
Into this race, McLaren hadn't seen a mechanical failure all season long. In the last 5 laps, both of their cars are out due to an engine failure. What a development. Everything is changing before our eyes here. This is going to turn into a huge opportunity if we can hang on to the win especially. I forgot to do through the grid because I was in awe of what was happening after the recording, so I completely forgot to actually record the through the grid part, so I apologize about that. But we come to now lap 22, and the gap to Drugovich, to my surprise, is staying the same. He's not closing. Suddenly, it's becoming apparent that we are capable here in China of managing this gap of over 3 seconds to Drugovich, and we are now in position to bring this car home to get the win. And it would be our 3rd win of the season, and of course a back-to-back victory after Monza, our first win of course earlier in the season in Singapore. It was such a confidence-boosting win because it felt like we had finally found what we needed to find, and then of course we fell off hard after McLaren just seemed to find so much more pace and brought an upgrade, and we just struggled after that. But of course we brought that upgrade last episode, and things are looking so much better going into these closing laps of the Chinese Grand Prix. Safety car.
There is no way, man.
As that was happening, Mark was telling me Drugovich has a problem with his car, by the way. Here's a look. It's Oscar Piastri in the BMW Andretti, the team that Alonso's trying to get me to come to, and they both just crashed themselves out. Both cars out. Safety car flies. But this is so late that this is going to be very quick. By the time we catch up to the safety car is already coming back in. So we're leading. It's going to be a 2-lap dash. Drugovich is second with a issue. He is going to be slower. So the safety car certainly sucks, but I think we're going to be okay because of his lack of pace. Here we go. Now we are in control. We take off going into that final turn, and look at the gap already. Now we are reeling away from our Brazilian teammate. 2 laps to go. If we can hang on as we should, this is going to be a total game changer going into the final remaining few Grand Prix of the season, and the gap is already nearly a full second to Felipe Drugovich. We are in perfect shape now. 1.1 seconds. We can already put it on cruise control. We just need to continue though to just drive away, open up that gap, and it would be nearly 2 seconds down the long back straightaway. Drugovich now under pressure from Gasly. Don't forget the constructor situation as well. It's Mercedes versus this Red Bull Audi team, but there's not much we can do to help our teammate. We can just only do our own thing, and that's winning the race. Drugovich is going to give up the spot to Gasly, who will move through into second. Hold on, it's still not over. In the back, there's Behrman. Up the inside of the new rookie, of course, Jarno Opmeer. Calimero runs P5, but Behrman might be able to actually actually pass her before this race is over. But look at this battle here coming to the final lap of the Grand Prix. Mayor's all over the back of these guys, and Drugovich is continuing to fumble down the order, of course, with his issue. Russell trying to go through on Gasly now. Mayer into P4, Behrman P6, and he is going to easily run down Drugovich and likely pass him before this is over. Otmir versus Vips. The two-stop strategy benefits hard when a safety car comes out in the final run, and we're seeing it now as Behrman and Vips are going to continue to work their way forward, but Russell gets through on Gasly. For myself, it's a 2.7, near 3 second gap on this final lap of the Chinese Grand Prix. What a development. We made the undercut, and I did not expect the undercut to put us in position to maintain and lead this race until the very end. It was a huge call. It was an idea from myself. Mark agreed, made the call to bring us in, and it has worked to perfection. Behrman finds a way past Calimere on this final lap, but they would continue to battle it out to where Mare's actually going to stay ahead, maybe, but no, Behrman gets there in that final hairpin. They're back and forth, but around the final turn, it is going to be win number 3 on the season in the Chinese Grand Prix.
Unbelievable. Let's go, guys.
Ah, fantastic drive. That's just fantastic. Amazing. You deserved that race win. Well done, mate.
It's not over, boys. We've clawed our way back. Incredible day. Thank you for the hard work. Merci beaucoup.
It's a performance to be proud of from our Chinese Grand Prix winners here today.
This was one of the last tracks I ever expected to win at in the F123 career mode, and going into the first end of the first 10 laps of this Grand Prix, and it looked like our chances of winning the Grand Prix were 0. I didn't have enough pace. I had enough pace to maintain in the DRS, but even then we were still under pressure from Aiden Jackson behind us, and we made that undercut call, and the undercut worked significantly better than I anticipated it. I was hoping that it would just get us maybe a few car lengths, quite literally a few car lengths on Leclerc, just put me ahead of him, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep him behind in the final half of the Grand Prix. Obviously, we couldn't foresee the mechanical failures coming. What a day, and certainly with the DNFs for both McLarens, this is going to really turn the championship for them upside down. The constructors, they really have nothing to worry about, but the drivers' championship, of course, it's a whole new different dynamic now, and we're going to take a look at that in just a moment. So worst case scenario for those two guys, out of the race, and then I win. Behrman beat Mayer at the end. Otmir held off Vips, who was the other driver in the top 10 that was on that two-stop strategy. And how about Albon? His first points with the new Lamborghini team for him after leaving Ferrari after all their issues, and Ferrari hasn't had any mechanical issues since Albon has left. Here's the points. It's game on. 17 points behind Leclerc with a few races to go. We are back in this. It is real. We have a 50-point advantage on Mercedes going into these final couple of rounds. Next episode, we head back to the Middle East in Qatar. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching. Let's continue this run forward. Have a great day.